Joining us now is Brian Linder, the Republican candidate for the Grant County Magistrate in the 2nd District. Brian, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And this time running as the incumbent, last time as the challenger. But for those who moved into the county recently, tell them a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, I'm a lifelong Grant County resident. I was born in Crittenden to John and Monterey Linder, and went to Crittenden Mount Zion Elementary and then Grant County High School. I graduated there and then went to the University of Kentucky and graduated there in 1996 with a bachelor's. And then went to work for Owen Electric Cooperative, and while there I went back and got a master's in business administration from Thomas More College. I currently live in Dry Ridge with my wife Sonia and our 3 kids, Alec, Tanner, and Chloe.
Okay. Well, Brian, as you know, being a magistrate recently, the county barn this summer moved from its location on Barnes Road in Wimpstown to the property just off Meeks Road in Dry Ridge. And there's been some discussion with regards to whether that's the best use for this property, how accessible it's going to be off Taft Highway, as well as the process in which the county come to acquire this property. Now, what is your view on those aspects?
Well, I can say, first of all, that I voted no on the purchase price, or the purchase of the land on Hopperton Lane. And you asked some very good questions, and I'll answer all 3 for you. First of all, the land that's on Hopperton Lane is prime real estate property. It lies right there on Interstate 75, and it could have brought in some significant tax dollars and tax revenues to the county in the near future. But because the county now owns it, it will be bringing in 0 tax dollars and tax revenue to the county. So I felt like that it was a nice piece of property that the county maybe shouldn't have bought. Your second question, the location of it to me is not a very good location for the county barn. You know, anyone who's traveled through Dry Ridge, through the intersection of 22, Hopperton Lane, the Outlet Mall, and the interstate exits know that that's a very congested area. And now we have a new Toyota dealership at that corner, and now the county barn. So it's almost going to be impossible for county vehicles and trucks to get in and out of Hopperton Lane and really make that intersection even more congested than it already was. So that was another reason why I didn't think it was a good deal. And then your final question about the process in which it was purchased, and that was another reason why I voted no, was just the process itself. The county paid $100,000 more for the property than what it was originally appraised for. There is a law that says that the county, a government entity, cannot pay more for a piece of property than the appraised value. Well, when at the auction that the sale price was going past the appraised value, a deal was struck with a third party for the third party to buy it, for the land to be then reappraised at a more favorable appraisal price, so then by law the county can buy it. Now, laws are in place for a reason, and I believe that your government, your county government should follow those rules and those laws and not try to find ways around them or loopholes. And that's what was done, and that's why I voted no. And unfortunately, I was the only no vote on that purchase price.
Okay. Now, the Grant County Detention Center continues to operate in the red in regards to its budget. In fact, last year the county had to basically pull $1 million from elsewhere to fund the deficit in income at the jail without any income from housing federal prisoners. That figure is likely to be the same again this year. Do you feel there should be a limit to the county's supplementing of funding on the jail, and what can be done in the future to reduce the jail's deficit in the first place?
Well, I'll tell you this. The county should not be in the jail business. It is not a business that you can make money in, and why the decision was made in the past for the county to be in this is beyond me. But let's talk about it a little bit. You are correct. The jail runs at this past year about $1 million deficit. You know, it is almost impossible for the jail to break even without federal prisoners. And in the last 4 years, Boone County, Campbell County have built brand new jails with extra beds. Kenton County is finishing a huge jail that's going to have extra beds. The federal courthouse is in Covington. That's where the federal prisoners are going to be held, in those 3 counties. And for us to think that they're going to come out here really is a pipe dream. And so unfortunately what we are left with is a $4 million budget with $3 million revenue. And unfortunately the taxpayers of Grant County have to make up the difference, the $1 million difference. When I came onto the court 4 years ago, it was very evident very early that the biggest problem that this county is going to face is an escalating jail budget. And 4 years later, today, that is still a huge problem, is the escalating jail budget that you're talking about. Now, a good question that people often ask is, well, can you close it? Unfortunately, there's a lot of fixed costs to the jail. Up to this year, the bond payment's $650,000. The bond payment being basically your house payment. Your bond payment is what we still owe on the jail, on the building, on the assets. And so it's a $650,000 up to this year fixed cost. We're also, Grant County citizens are also responsible for the criminals in Grant County until they're convicted of the crime they commit, and then they become the responsibility of the state. Well, if you take the average number of prisoners that we have that are Grant County prisoners over a year, the cost of that for someone else to house them, if the jail was closed, is going to be about $600,000. So you're looking at about $1.25 million is the break point. So once the budget, if the jail budget goes over 1.25, you can close the jail and actually save money. Now I know that's sad because you're basically the fixed cost and you're basically throwing $1.25 million out the window. But at that point, when the jail budget goes over that, it's going to be cheaper to close the jail. So that's why the jail's not closed right now. But it is the issue, it is the problem that the county faces right now.
Okay. We've often heard there's nothing to do in Grant County. People complain about the lack of venues such as movie theaters, public pools, bowling alleys, or even putt-putt golf courses. What role do you think the county should play in attracting, encouraging, or maybe even in some cases providing some type of entertainment for our youth?
Being a lifelong Grant County resident, I'm well aware of that question. And I've worked on 4 years on, providing answer to the question, what is there to do in Grant County? And one of the first votes that I took as a magistrate was the approval of Tabitha Clemens as the recreational director, one of your former cohorts. Tabitha has been dynamic, as you probably know, as our recreational director. When she came in, she took the current county programs and made them better, and then she brought in her own programs. And we have a lot of things for various ages. We have the Senior Bash and the Senior Games, and we have Summer Splash. We have the Monster Mash at Halloween. We have the Easter egg hunt, just to name a few. My favorite program, though, that she has done is Movies in the Park. I vividly remember voting to yes on the purchase of the materials to do the Movies in the Park, because at that time the economy was starting to go bad and gas was about $4 a gallon. And I remember vividly thinking that in the near future families in Grant County were going to have a hard time going to Florence and to afford movies. I mean, I take my family, it's at least $50, and that's if you don't eat out, or if you don't eat out, that's just your tickets and maybe some popcorn. So I knew that it was going to be problems for families to go out, and providing this drive-in-like experience at Grant County Park for really next to nothing is what I think is a good example of what I think county government